This getting higher and higher now.
Let's see, higher than it was.
This throne seems getting higher.
Things moved around and we were trying to figure out
Oh,
what was the right,
okay.
arrangement.
Okay.
I guess that would be fine.
Yeah. Who's Umze today? Are you Umze?
Are you the chant master? Virginia, right? I think Virginia's here.
Okay. Do we have another camera somewhere here? Oh, yeah.
I think it's just the laptop.
Oh, laptop, okay.
Virginia said that was Travis Ricochet.
This one?
That's what Virginia said.
Oh, okay. Probably, yeah. I think I need another chant. Oh, okay. Dala dongwa jibe dra dobar jibe ge tarwa dan
Page 1 of the prayer book.
bardo jubar jiba dan jije do jibe ma nanga dan nyambe simjen damji dang den dong ar dan zhe nyor de la na me ba yang da bar zo be xiong ju ren bo ye do ba rai ji xia.
All mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness, may they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Buddhahood.
Nima san ta zamje bardo lunga yezonge wala go.
Thus, until I achieve enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind.
Namgen tadan yambe semje damje joje de zamje tije shebadan chije ko zon to yoden chenle dan jije ngoro jiro chuje bomba don drai je za yin june pabe gende dan jije ngada Chenjen zawa dan jubere jibe barden lama dan ba nam la jase je wo yedan jingore je lazo nam la jase je wo sanje junden de nam la jase je wo dan be chu nam la jase je wo Pabe gendu nam la jazeng je wo bawang gandro che jong zong me to yi xie ji jian dan den ba nam la jazeng je wo.
All sentient beings, limitless as the sky, take refuge in the glorious kind Lama Vajradhara, the embodiment of the body, speech, mind, qualities, and activities of the Buddhas of the 10 directions and the 3 times, source of the 84,000 categories of the teaching and Lord of the Sanghas. We take refuge in the kind root Lama and lineage Lamas. We take refuge in the deities of the mandalas of the yidams. We take refuge in all the exalted Buddhas. We take refuge in the perfect Dharma. We take refuge in the excellent order of the Sanghas. We take refuge in all the noble Dakas, Dakinis, and Dharma guardians, possessors of the eye of wisdom.
Sanje jodan soje jonam.
No, Jiangxu Ningbo.
Sanje ningbo jeje ba sanje nam la jabse je chodan sanje samba solan de jin jabse je jedar mun je de je sanje tone je ba ta Shanjo sembe la ba la da da ren jin ne ba da de jin ro la pen den do shanjo sem ne ji ji jin de jin do na la ba la ren ba jin do la ba ji wo.
Until I attain the heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma, and likewise in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. As the previous Buddhas embraced the enlightened mind and progressed on the Bodhisattva's path, I too, for the benefit of all sentient beings, give birth to bodhicitta and apply myself to accomplish the stages of the path.
Sanje jodan soye jonan la janjo bardo dane
Gyalsuji
dage jeso jebe zonan je dola benje sanje drobai jo.
In the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings.
Ma nam ga dan nyambe sim jen dam ji dewa dan devi jo dan den bara jo dong a ji jo dan jarwa jo ji dong a me be dewa dan min ra wa jo ji nye ren cha dan yin dan jarwe dan yong la ne bara jo ji.
May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion.
Benza samanza, benza samanza, benza samanza, malu samjen gunjen gunjo jin, dude bonje mezen jumzela, nguna malu jin janjo be, jomden gorjine,
Refuge of all sentient beings without exception, divine subjugator of terrifying Maras, together with their hosts of demons, the one who understands all realities without exception exactly as they are, transcendent conqueror, together with your disciples, please come here to this place.
Hum banza argan badan be de be alogi gen de nirend shabda bardi da zo saje boje jojin medo tan ra len je nyen de gen bande Sanje shen la me de parwa ye roge nam da shen de jo ba jo chan za wa dan ju jin xiao ba dan ye ye ran go shin so wa ye ge wa jung ze da ge je za Tamji dobe janjo jengo.
The ground is sprinkled with scented water and strewn with flowers. It is adorned with Meru, the supreme mountain, the four continents, and the sun and moon. As a Buddha field, I offer it. May all sentient beings attain the happiness of the Buddha fields. Whatever merit I have gathered through prostrations, offerings, confession, rejoicing, beseeching, and praying, for the sake of the enlightenment of all sentient beings, all this I dedicate.
Namo Nansi Namda Ge Lama La Nansi Jirgin Zonjo Bambo Kamsan Yondro De Zorbande Korwa Tondro Se Shinjilo Ji Norwa Zoge Jin Mazan Jume Jarwe To Kimbe Yishi Ngadan Den Zewe Dani Gari Jin Drowa Jumzi Rinpoche Dasim Yiji Ngani Zorwande Shunyi Jingando Shinji Lo Zemdone Jime Namdande Londe Dobara Shinji Lo Jom Dende Tijin Shik Ajajumba Yang Tagbara Zobe Sanje Rigba Dan Shabsu Denba Devara Shikba Jiten Jim Jivan durva kaloi jurva lana me pa la dan me namji dumba nyame shaji jarbo shabji dur chama me pa lango rabdo dod kube janzalo kanze kanyin zo jodam se Sajin de la combat de warne ngane jidan de nan choji song de zenge bai julai chanza lo nam dai gongan chodu su zong wa yi xie jian zo zer ji lun bon zha zha ban zong na long wa Gombo Johnny July Janzalo Senjo Denbai Chimin Daisha Zendon Dawai July Janzalo Adurai Chundrai Siba Zonanze Nyamin Chenjen July Janzalo Minjoin Durwa Kaloi Junzi Jen Gunjur Chingwai Junzi De Shin Shin Wangbai Shin Ye Shil Ki Nyi Yu Shubha De La Jan Sa Lo Ngombo Tu Ye Chedem Pai Tang Jin Chenpe Don Ba Bo Sana yoden jam sui she ti xin she lai chan ca le da bin du jia zha wi je ge ngan song le zhe ji jie de to dan chu chu ru wa xin ju chu lai chan ca le Ni zhe wei la miang dang la ba ta la ra zhe ke xin ge dan ba yu den xin gen du la yang jiang za lo.
Page 11. Namo, to the Lama of utterly pure appearance and existence, I offer the fundamental ground of appearance and existence. I supplicate you to thoroughly liberate the three realms. Please grant your blessings and overturn the depths of samsara. Sublime Master, wish-fulfilling jewel, crown ornament the inconceivable, inexpressible mind of the victorious ones, and the one endowed with the five wisdoms of omniscience, gracious one, the embodiment of love, precious protector of beings, I supplicate you from within the essence of mind. Please grant your blessings from within the innate nature. Please bless me that I may realize the Dharmakaya that is beyond intellect, this primordially unborn, completely pure mind. Transcend and conquer the one thus gone, foe destroyer of afflictive emotions, completely perfected Buddha, endowed with logic and virtue, the one gone to bliss, knower of the world, captain, tamer of beings, the unexcelled teacher of gods and men. I respectfully prostrate, completely touching my head to the stainless feet of the unequaled Shakya king. At the time of your birth, leader of two-legged beings, taking 7 steps on this great earth, you proclaimed, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise, even then I prostrate. Possessing a body of complete purity, your sublime form is excellent. An ocean of primordial wisdom, you are like a golden mountain. The one whose renown is evident throughout the 3 worlds, protector of supreme attainment, to you I prostrate. To you who are endowed with the supreme marks, whose face is like an immaculate moon, To you, the one with a complexion like gold, I prostrate. A flawless one such as you, among the three levels of existence, is most exquisite. Unparalleled, omniscient one, to you I prostrate. Supreme among humans, captain of those to be tamed, the one thus gone who severs the all-binding fetters, who with senses pacified is utterly pacified and skilled in peace. To that one, the one who dwelled at Shravasti, I prostrate. Refuge endowed with great compassion, totally omniscient one who indicates the way, ground basis for oceans of merit and qualities, I prostrate to the one thus gone, the pure cause free from attachments, the virtue that liberates from the lower realms, the altogether supreme ultimate truth. To the pacifying Dharma I prostrate. Having been liberated, they also reveal the path to liberation. Thoroughly respectful of the three higher trainings, they are a field of sublime qualities. To the Sangha I also prostrate. So then to page 14.
Sombo jube molam dobdan ki jarwa tamji yije ngazan shenge dunye lurab de baye jarwa gunla rabda janzal durji dena durni sanje na sanje seje wana jubada Tadare chuji yina malu ba tamji jarwa dage kawaramu. Tadai ngaba mezi janso na yonji yanloi janso dragunji. Jarwa kunji yuden rabju jin devare shiva tamji dage. Do tamba chungwa tamba dan sinye nam tan choba dong cho dan marmin cho dan dupu tamba ye jarwa tada la nen cho barai je nanza tamba nam tan chen cho dan chi mi purma ra nyamba dan Kubi jibaran babin chogun ji jarwa teda layan jubarai ji Joba kanam lame jaje wa teda jarwa tamje layan mo Sombo chula tebe dobda ki jarwa kunlai chanzarai jubai ji Doja xedan temu wangi ne ludan adan tejin yije Dikpa dagi jiba jinji bada da tamji dagi zozorya Joje jarwa kundan sanji ziranja namdan lodan meladan Drowa kunji sunam kanla yan tada kunji jesu dayera. Kanay jujun jiden drama da janju rumba sanje majayni. Gombo tada dagi tamji lan kolo lana me bargo wargo. Nyangen da dong kong shi da da lan roa kun lai pen shin de wei che. Karwa shingi durni shu ba yang da ge tar mo rab jar zor wa ge. Chanza wa dan ju jin ya ba dan je su ye rong go shin zo wa ge. Gewa junzi dage jeza ba damji zobe janjo chemo.
Page 15. I prostrate to the youthful Manjushri, to those in the worlds of the 10 directions, however many there are, all the lions among humans who appear during the 3 times, to all of them without exception, I pay homage with respectful body, speech, and mind. The force of my aspiration prayer for excellent conduct brings all the victorious ones directly to mind. Bowing down with bodies as numerous as atoms in the realms, I prostrate to all the victorious ones. In a single atom there are Buddhas as numerous as atoms, each residing in the midst of their sons and daughters. Like that, I imagine the whole Dharmadhatu completely filled with victorious ones. To those with oceans of inexhaustible praiseworthy qualities, with sounds containing oceans of tones of melodic speech, I express the qualities of all the victorious ones. I praise all the Sugatas with the finest flowers, the finest garlands, music, ointments, supreme parasols, supreme lamps, and the finest incense. I make offerings to the victorious ones with the finest claws, supreme scents, and fine powders equal to Mount Meru, all displayed in supreme and magnificent ways. I make offerings to those victorious ones. With vast and unsurpassable offerings, I venerate all the victorious ones. Through the power of faith and excellent conduct, I prostrate and offer to the victorious ones. Whatever negative actions I have performed with body, speech, and also mind, overpowered by desire, aggression, and stupidity, I confess each and every one of them. I rejoice in everyone's merit, the victorious ones of the 10 directions, the Bodhisattvas, the Pratyekya Buddhas, those in training, those beyond training, and all beings. I request the protectors, the lamps of the worlds of the 10 directions, who, passing through the stages of awakening, attain Buddhahood beyond attachment, to turn the unsurpassable Dharma wheel. I supplicate with my palms joined together those who intend to demonstrate nirvana, to remain for kalpas as numerous as atoms in the realms, for the welfare and happiness of all beings. Kate, whatever slight merit, through prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing, requesting, and supplicating to enlightenment.
Simchen namje samba tang loye jara jadawa chijun tumon te baye chijin kolo gordo.
Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the 2 vehicles and their combination according to the dispositions and mental capacities of sentient beings.
Gora de gozum kuba jimbo gone jan zarjin jobzun jewo jewane zero jin chun dam je do de wa jimbo gone je zan ju jin je la ban de do so gong ge jar zong da mang ge san zhen ben dong zha yin zhen bei zo zhen zhe zhe ren zhe ge me ge de Dujinda maguni julin jiten som jin kong jabe to be magar bo darang dalo yen zor jong. Orjen zalen be me dong bo ze jabe nam ro rong jong lun ji ron zan zo be yeden zom. Pama jung ne dalo ben zor jong. Chini dang ge shi ji su bin chen zi jin ko rao kong shen ro kun sa mo man pa san zo lo ro kun de nyan de jo ko dang yi shi zhe pa me gong chu yin ka lan ze pa. Jam pa re shu de gu ne ga vi tu gen chu yin chu be ma gar bon zhen be sha le song wo zi tong ge cha wa jin nyan ge me zi lo zhong cho yang jing agi brahmo dai jong dorjin chon chin delo naro thang marba mela chujin kambo Mahamudra Vajavan Drupon ga ju lama nam lan ju ba Omi je je yin je bodane do som sang je gun je ngo ni rong sam chu gu ngo sum dan Save lama dala gu jan sa da son ro e lo nan chu lan ju Okay, this is our old business, yeah, and we need to check our motivation. That's really important. Whether choosing or shivala, lo choosing or go over. Tindu gamborum bache someone nanshi tomar. Lo choosing rovala, then lo don't number shears and the senare that choose rover shibala, and a lot of number she chu lo choosing rovatan, chu jar to young shibala, then lot of number shit. Go yours.
So, in order to ensure that the Dharma actually goes in the direction of Dharma, that the Dharma is pure or authentic Dharma, then our mind has to go toward the Dharma. And so as Gampopa says, with these 4 Dharmas of Gampopa, in the beginning, in order to ensure that the Dharma goes or becomes true Dharma or goes in the direction of Dharma, then we have to have our mind go in the direction of Dharma, or our mind has to turn toward Dharma. And the way to achieve that is through the 4 thoughts that turn the mind, through cultivating the intention based on the 4 thoughts that turn the mind. So to ensure that the Dharma becomes true Dharma, then we reflect on these 4 thoughts.
So, Takpo Chu Shis, Takpo Rinpoche Chu Shis, and Chu Shig, Tangmartel Lo Chu Sunrova, Tene, Chu Lam Dendrova, Lam Turba Serba, Turba Yishis and Charwazon, Tene, Tongmartanda, Shubanangi, Lodon Namba Shis, Tongmar Lo Chu Sunrovich, Lodon Namba Shi. Chu lam dun rovala, ngun rom bom ngas, ngaso, ngun roganala, jamdro, simchi, yige java, mandal, senat mandala sen. Tini laminan yursen, nandurna, ngun rom bom ngas, ta yondra, ngaso. Atendiro, chu lam dun rovichit. Ana lam truba servegi chido dene yidam ke nyemba tanda lama yidam khandro ngui saro ngui lama yidam khandro ke nyenrop tchi dene lu la gom nga ande yi tengen zela nyambar shan dene lu nga yi zon chik do terve ko ne dene nyam slen watela ngui yes te lam truba serveki chito. Teres. Then truba yis and charveki chito, then chakja chembo. Then zogba chembo. Da kanda rono sosu lo dart chene, gumbayena. Then tongma lo chusen rovatan, then chu lam den rovatan, lam truba servatan. Tarto truba yis and charver chevala. Then nato chakja chembo, then zogba chembo. Gombalet ene mato tene truva yishis charta vumaresung.
So, not to confuse the 4 thoughts that turn the mind with the 4 dharmas of Gampopa. So the 4 dharmas of Gampopa, which Khenpo Rinpoche just mentioned or alluded to, are that one's mind must go toward the Dharma, and the Dharma must progress along the path. So there's two versions of saying this. One is what Khenpo Rinpoche just said, which is the Dharma must go toward Dharma, or the Dharma must become true Dharma, or it's often said the Dharma must progress along the path or go towards the path. And sometimes this takes a prayer form, like bless me that my mind may go to toward the Dharma, bless me that the Dharma may progress along the path. That's the second. The third is that the path may clarify confusion or delusion. So the third is that the path or Dharma should function in such a way that it dispels or clarifies delusion, purifies delusion. And then fourth, that delusion must shine forth as wisdom, or be transformed into wisdom. And so these are the four dharmas of Gampopa, and they correspond perfectly with the progressive stages of the path, because the mind going toward the dharma is what happens when we reflect on the four thoughts that turn the mind. So when we meditate or reflect on the four thoughts that turn the mind, which is what we're doing here, this is what ensures that the mind goes toward the Dharma. That's that foundational first of the four dharmas. And then when we move into the uncommon preliminaries, which are, so the four thoughts that turn the mind are the common preliminaries, and then the uncommon preliminaries are the four of refuge, refuge, Vajrasattva, Mandala, and Guru Yoga. So for each of these four, we do the practices that they... Bodhicitta. Oh, okay. So he included... Yeah. Oh, the Gayansana, the special preliminary. So actually, he included, and I sort of I missed it. But he included within that actually, so 5, so it also bodhicitta. So we have the 4 uncommon preliminaries of refuge, Vajrasattva, but he included refuge, bodhicitta together with refuge. So refuge and bodhicitta, Vajrasattva, Mandala, and Guru Yoga, which we do 100,000 accumulations for each of those sections. In the Fivefold Path of Mahamudra, we have following the 4 of refuge, Vajrasattva, Mandala, and Guru Yoga. Then we have the special preliminaries, which is bodhicitta. So we do 100,000 accumulations there. So all 5 of those, then this falls into the category in the context of the 4 dharmas of the dharma progressing along the path, or the dharma going toward dharma, or becoming authentic dharma. And then then when you have the further, there's then the path clarifying or clearing away confusion. Then we have the Lama, Yidam, and Khandro. So there is, for instance, Yidam, which is the next practice where we then are reciting with our body, we're visualizing the form of the deity, or generating, arising in the form of the deity. With our speech, we're reciting mantra. With our mind, we're meditating or entering into the state of meditative absorption or samadhi. And then this, together with like Guru Yoga, 4-kaya Guru Yoga, and Dakini Khandro, then the Chudro Kaladra water, or Gare, the Chaching Madin, Nyamdu.
Yidam Serva. Yidam said to Thomas Kogdo, Lama, Yidam Khandro Sunga, Yidam Gutrovasana.
La Sola. So we can actually think of these together, Lama, Yidam, and Dakini, because when we're meditating on the Yidam, that embodies all of those. So Lama, the essence of the deity, is the Lama, and likewise there's the Dakini is included within that. So then what clears away the path, the 4th of the 4 dharmas of Gampopa, may delusion dawn as wisdom, or may delusion being transformed into or being recognized as wisdom, can only happen with the practice of Mahamudra and Dzogchen. So that stage of the path is what functions to transform delusion into wisdom, or to recognize delusion as wisdom. So this is the means, the only means, in fact, for that fourth Dharma to be accomplished.
Nga kazong Chicago la, dunchang ma la, drone Drupon rin chendurji, nga la chakchen kanga ma, shi gri song nge chakchen kanga ma, shi bari te indu di kapsu nga rangi ngoma, ju ndangwi kapsu tene nga tso tanda kajuk luksul karma kajuk ta juba nang la dorjin chang thong ma sa chindo dorjin chang chen de lo na ro tong mar ba me la chu ji gam ba ti chang thong se du short dorjin chang chen prayer ti nang la pe sabo zondo arsena nga so da thoma kom jap ins segero and chudrup to come jap over. Then gom jabi caps gom sayatella gongban rao shiores.
Kangpashi.
Gongban rao yores.
Kangpado.
And go rao yores. And nguni gom sayate, chaja chimpu gom sayate. Karimba. Ti pe shane, pe songdo. Tanga zo jima pecha chuna tanda lo zawa house tola ti pechat do kazong Chicago la tanda shiyare son te yindu tangpo te juri.
So Drupon, Kimbo Rinpoche, when recently he actually just returned from teaching in Chicago at Chicago Ratna Shri, Drupon Rinchen Dorje's center, and he was asked to teach on the Ganges Mahamudra, the Mahamudra Upadesha, is that?
Yes.
Yeah, in Sanskrit. And so, and at the beginning, prior to this, they did chud, the practice of chud. Did you say that?
Yes, but also when I was in 3-year retreat or in Nepal, there is a much longer jut.
Okay.
It's called Rinchen Trungma.
Rinchen Trungma.
Julie Rinchen Trungma.
So the precious garland, a chud practice, that is called the precious garland, which is what they did in retreat, which is longer than what they were practicing in Chicago.
Third Karmapas.
Which was composed by the third Karmapa.
Tigin la, than the supplication yoro.
That's all.
Tigit nang la, dorjin chang tong ma se, short dorjin chang chen.
So, but Dorje Changjin Dili Narodang? Okay. So at the beginning of this, there is a short supplication to the lineage gurus, and this is also in the Karma Kagyu tradition, which begins with Vajradhara, Tilopa, Naropa, Marpa, Milarepa, and Gampopa. And so this is... yes, thank you very much. We have it here. And so this is what, like the abbreviated but very powerful and important supplication. So it's referred to as, the short prayer, the short supplication, but that is very powerful and is really important to recite at the beginning of one's meditation. So there's the different kind of there's what's referred to as the foot of meditation, the head of meditation, and then the actual kind of body of meditation, which is, so this is the example of, for instance, Mahamudra is the actual body of meditation, Rebe, and then there is, also the foot and the head. And so this is like this supplication, this abbreviated or pithy supplication is like the foot of meditation. And so he found this on the Lotsawa House website, which is where the translation, which is right now being
Yeah.
shown on the screen. Yeah.
Tene dandi ngola tanda kangba foods ya. Gomgi kangba da wote karere sena de hen lotre so da hen lotre du revulsions this ngazo ngenjung de desam ngenjung le jang tene this zikt debaina des hen lotre du hyokchandwa tindu dan tomar hienba lokba korbala hienba lokba tela tene gomjabya ke kangba da wichreso tene hienlo am ngenjung te meba ina tene gomjabya ke kangba da wote me yondu rang gomji jamna yang te kan kana yang laptop mares tunda ya mares ke jarwa tindu hienlo te 인지 매니 걸 거고요레스 다 단지나 dana chi 통해서 컴퓨터도 켜면
Karela?
저런 컴퓨터도 켜서만
Yeah, 그렇다nga.
롱난 여보세요.
Yeah. So actually, maybe could somebody just turn it slightly, maybe, but maybe we can't see.
Oh,
It's
maybe
okay.
they need to
I
see.
can see it. It's
Okay.
all right. So the first line here, it says revulsion for samsara. Revulsion for samsara. Can everyone still see over there? Revulsion is the foot of meditation, or is the feet of meditation. So is taught. So revulsion. This is referring to essentially renunciation. So renunciation is the necessary preliminary or foundation to meditation. So like turning away from or having revulsion or disenchantment with samsara is what ensures that there can be progress in meditation. If there's no renunciation as the foot or as the foundation of practice, then even if one tries to meditate, there won't really be much result. So there has to be that foundation, that foot of genuine renunciation or disenchantment or revulsion even towards samsara.
tene 다 대가서 노동 넘버 희세야 다 저 현로 거발에 현발로 약 치트 tene 노동 넘버 희세야 무슨 거야
And the method for developing revulsion or disenchantment towards samsara is reflection on the four thoughts that turn the mind.
tene 모구 검진고 와서 다 검지 ngo다 보때 tene 모구 들에서
And then devotion is the head of meditation, so it is taught. So the head of meditation is devotion.
tene 다 모구 때매바이나 tene 검지 잠나 연고 매바 나시 고메세나 고메나 tene 수지 소토고 말아 희바 나시레스 대인데 곰 뭐네지 차고를 해봐라 tene 모구 고고요레서
And then, so if there's no devotion, then it's like there's no life force in one's meditation. So it's like, even if one meditates, but there's not devotion, it's like a body without a head, which means there's no life there. There's no life force. And so without devotion, it's like a corpse. It's like, a dead body without a head. And so the method, likewise for meditation, is genuine devotion. So that has to be a part of one's practice. So the renunciation is the feet, and devotion is the head.
대인들다 대바 제사기 요 또 뭐요 봐라 ngato nomba sanji bilusula sanji chu gendun sen kuncho som sen ana telete ba chen ji yong jirtong chen na de nomba sanji besoyena sanji chu de gendu som la tene te ba tan yi chi ya de ji yong de teng ne chi tene ta pu rang ge lu su chen na tene sang ge lu su chen na lama yi dong khan ro som sen te nga zo nam ju yong ra da to chen na ngu yi nyam se lem be kaps ke lama yi dong khan ro se tene ta yar nga nyam len che be kaps ye na nang ke za dang long dang tik le la jap sun ro ya da ane tele jong saba da zok chen rang ge lu su chen na tene ngô rang yi tuk yi som sen tende da jam ro go sen na da jam ro jung ni jab yur tal tende mongbo ye ba che ya yo re
So the source or the object of faith and devotion are essentially the three jewels, and there are all of the different levels of meaning, like inner, outer, secret meaning of the three jewels. So the outer level being refuge, taking a mind of faith and devotion towards the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. In like from the secret mantra or Vajrayana perspective, then we also have the inner meaning of the three jewels, which is the Lama, Yidam, and Dakini, which is recognized, in the context of practice. And then secretly, the secret meaning is that of the channels, winds, and drops, which is also realized or understood through practice. And then the essence meaning or suchness meaning, which is really understood through the practice or realization of Dzogchen or Mahamudra, particularly in the context of Dzogchen, it's described as the threefold essence of the true nature of mind or true nature of reality, which is the essence, the empty essence, the aspect or nature of clarity or luminosity, and the all-pervasive spontaneous presence or compassion. So the essence, nature, and compassion. And so there are many different ways of categorizing the three jewels, but these are for the outer, inner essence, secret, and suchness.
tene da melare be song do lama yidam khan ro som tisum chi jam ne yin song da ane chi jam ne se go res dene mare sorry sanji chu de gen
Oh, yeah.
sanji chu de gen du song tisum chi jam ne yin song.
So Milarepa says, the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, these three are the outer refuge.
Lama yidam khan ro som tisum nang ki jam ne yin song.
He says the Lama, Yidam, and Dakini, these three are the inner refuge.
Za tang long tang tik le song tisum tuen ji jam ne yin song da.
And so the channels, winds, and drops, these are the ultimate refuge or the meaning refuge.
Tende yindu, da teso kechen bor je tong chu xiama ngone takbor moche songwa nangxin chu xin de ma xin na chu ji la rang nge song ten robi ju xi gre song chu se ya de chu xi de che tawa ina tarwa zan tam jin chen be kongpong le yan ro ya cha gre de ma to chu xin de ma xin we ina ene chu ge jang nge song de man ro ya ge ju che gre se ya da de chu se ya de drobya jigbor kechen ba ma yin ba country drop go yo me drop tang de country me chu ji tön da dang me yu go pa country me ma xin na chu drop chu yin sa ne chu drop zam ji den chu start cha go yo ma re song den de song do chu se ya de tunda tang migi yu de go pattern de ha ma go ne chu yin sam ne ji drup de va yina kap kap nor si grwa te yin de chu hin to ma song bi yina chu se ya te ta jik yak bo yin be ge na nge pa men do.
So Dakpo Rinpoche or Gampopa says that if we don't practice the Dharma as the Dharma is meant to be practiced, as authentic Dharma, then the Dharma itself can become something that causes one to attain rebirth in the 3 lower realms if it's not properly practiced. And so if we don't understand the real objective of Dharma, if we don't understand the object properly, if we don't understand the motivation properly, if we don't understand the goal properly, and Dharma is practiced in a distorted or kind of perverse way, then the very practice of Dharma itself can become something that leads to taking rebirth in inferior realms. So it's very important to understand how to practice Dharma authentically, and that the Dharma is really practiced as it is meant to be practiced.
Tene da kap ngarong ki an ton sur la tinga zo pol yu de na chung tu ne lama la jobs jo sanje la jobs jo chu la jobs jo gendu la jobs jo sen jam do se ta par me chong mi tin dong gre pol lama la jobs jo sanje la jobs jo chu la jobs jo gendu la jobs jo ina da nga zo nop cho jar kabla tin dong ye sa la men do den kan men do tin de that 부기 주 제당당 너나 제당인데 is 가쇼 전부 차차샤스 가쇼 전부 장도스.
So Dangpo, okay, the tata ko ayana mena hakuma songi la tene. So from Kimbo Rinpoche's experience of being a child in Tibet, he, everybody always recited the words of refuge. I take refuge in the Lama, I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha. Dini di Dilalevni or Cultural Revolution Kala? Oh, and so then when he comes to America, there are a lot of people practicing the Dharma, but actually, there's not that habit of constantly reciting refuge, this prayer of refuge, which he thinks is really lacking. It really changes the way that people relate to the Dharma.
Not general recitation. Lama.
Oh, they don't include Lama in the repetition of refuge.
이나다 ngacho dana rangor chongchop lenge ngacho dencha knongla tanda page 3 yorwa ti nongla tanda lama se de pu ge chu che dangla en kuncho kundu segdo sanje kundu kuncho kundu sanje kuncho somte lama len du de ores Sanje tamje lamalan duyuyoruz. Dene ta jamne jik choson kap. Dene lamala japsun chewe jik burki. Dene chomala japsun roban roguyoruz. Dene nga chon dongcha gnola karendo sena. Chokchu tu somje ti ikwa tam chi ji ku song tok yo den chule tam chi ji ngobor churwa lama la se gorwa. Page 3.
Page 3 and
limitless take refuge in the glorious kind Lama Vidyadhara whose embodiment.
Chokchu Dusum, yeah.
Ndwa ndana chokchu tu somji tiji jigwa tamchi ji kusong tok yoden chenle tamchi ji ngobor churba lama la segorwa.
So here at D&J, we do recite this, actually. It's worded differently, but on page 3 in the prayer book, when it says, we take refuge in the glorious kind Lama Vajradhara embodiment of the body, speech, mind, qualities, and activities of the Buddhas of the 10 directions in the 3 times. So this embodies that because, for instance, often they say, the 3 jewels, the Lama in whom the 3 jewels are complete, or the Lama who is the embodiment of the 3 jewels, the Lama in whom all the Buddhas of the 3 times are present. The Lama is the single refuge in which all objects of refuge are present, or who he is the embodiment of all objects of refuge.
Tene ta sanji ki kusong tok yoden chenle jigbor mayimba chu ji zawayang lama chade ore son jungne tata chu ji pongba tongcha ji chu za yin jungne tene chu tamchi kin jungsa de lama chade ore da karisana sanji jumdende zambuleng la pemne lo ni tong abja chinsa ware nga choge je ya yo marwa tene chu ko do long ko ko sa ateso 당 롱그 소남 첨보 싸면은 이제 도요 말와 달라마 코날 때네 가서 주장야테 연구를 주 왕long 취좀세난 저기래 너나 탐지 달라마는 연구를 되는데 추기 윤콩게 자와테 라마차도 그래서 다 당보 성지 증오한테 라마야 되네 추기 윤네트 자와야 라마야
And so the enlightened body, speech, and mind of all the Buddhas and the root of all 84,000 categories of Dharma teachings, all of these are said to be contained within the Guru, within the Lama, because the Buddha who appeared, the historical Buddha, lived 2,500 years ago, and there's not the opportunity to meet, the historical Buddha now. And so the representative of the Buddha is the spiritual teacher, the Lama. And so it is from the spiritual teacher that we receive empowerments, transmissions, and teachings. And so in that way, it is the spiritual teacher, one's Lama, that is the source of all Dharma.
tene da sanji jing ngo yimba chu jin jung ne yimba tene phakbe gendu tamji jing ada sangdo na gendu tamji gi nonin chot churwa de rong ge zawelama yimba tende rezo.
And so likewise it is, so the essence of the Buddha, the source of the Dharma, and the foremost, among the Sangha, this is speaking to, the root Guru, the Lama.
Indu ta ndona chu dardo yongor shivala ta phug luksula tendre res indu yejemeni lamala teba mena cheguresen tendre shogyo mare tanda karesena de chu drop tangere phug chu drop tangte tendre res phug chu drop tang da do drobayina tandere gogyo res.
However, in accord with the Dharma, and especially, as accords with Tibetan tradition, it isn't as though, if there's not faith in the Guru or in the spiritual teacher, it's not like you have to have faith. You have to have devotion. You're not meant to force it. That's not actually, that doesn't accord with the true practice of Dharma. Denny?
말해 네
Yeah.
지그레스 라고요 말했어.
Oh.
추근낭라 추 힌드 드바이나 텔리 지그레스 정도.
Okay, so also it's not like Kimbo Rinpoche is saying you have to have faith in the guru. It isn't something that is like, also Tibetan culture. It's actually in the Dharma itself. It comes from, the words of the authentic words of Dharma.
디마체다 로노 소속이 추세야 드르비아게 고파도 좀 생카리치도 드르고요 대삼나 동거야라와 대인들 롱게 르보게 대당 샘게 대당 지볼게 치도 드르바이나 라마스 멕시코야 요즘 알아와 라마스야 돼 맞어 체치마 로야게 람가 되냐지라 라마마토 단다 맞어 주판 조용야다 맹게 라용야다 테네 르보 대통령야 라마 믹스 고야 요즘 말이스.
So this is, for what the need of having devotion towards the Lama or spiritual teacher is really for the sake of one's own Dharma practice. So, the objective of this devotion towards the spiritual teacher is for the sake of death and transmigration. So in future lives, to be able to rely on one's spiritual teacher and therefore be directed to a favorable rebirth. That's kind of the only purpose that it serves. It's only, the only purpose it serves is in the context of Dharma. It's not helpful or beneficial for worldly endeavors. It's not so that you can have name or fame or wealth or good luck and so forth.
zonganala kar zongdo sena pardu yornan jikpa hindu che jermar laman sorshi tengdo waso pardu yor sayad be jikpa chembo tene ngangta che wopa tene reso tikap so jermar sena tene pardu yor changle par garvala par jinkente lama chin sur greso lama chorji tengwas zongdo tingri jata seyorwa patamba sanjik tingdwal songwa yorwa tinongla pardu yornan jikpa hindu ches pardola jikpa chembo jikcha chembo yores and tikaps jermars par jinken guide lama chorji tengdwas churon lama chi sugogres find rely on lama chorji tengdwas imperative form.
So the great yogi, Indian Mahasiddha, famous Indian Mahasiddha Padamba Sanjay, said to the people of Thinley, the bardo, the intermediary state after death, is terrifying. So you need to rely on a qualified guide. You need to rely on the guru to guide you through that terrifying pass of the bardo. Rebe.
So that's how appears in a text, and also how most people practice in this way. And I think maybe it's sort of important in what I think is that if we want to, or anyone wants to become a good practitioner and good practice. Wants to practice dharmically, then need to become a good person. Yeah, that's the main thing. The quality of positive kind of attitude, or these are tremendously helpful in the Dharma. And we don't trust anyone, and
If we don't trust anyone.
if we don't trust it,
Yeah, if we don't trust anyone.
and we are kind of partially hate half of human race, then it's very difficult to think ourselves as a Dharma practitioner, and we would not have peace in our mind and our system. So it's sometimes it's better to let things go a little bit, and also trust around you, rather than finding all sort of negativities that we may see negativities, whether there is objectively exists or not, but due to our karma, we could see or negatives in other person or other things. So it's just, so this is, Dharma is called Nyamlen, right?
So the word nyamlin in Tibetan is what we usually translate as practice. But maybe that's not a great word. I don't know.
Yeah, that's...
Nyam is experience, and len is like taking experience, right?
Nyam Su Lempa, yeah.
Nyam Su
It's
Lempa.
the practice treat as maybe experience, or taking this action as in experience, maybe. Thinley into that, they're not that choose it. Drumna Thinley inside it. Tene, Tangarong Rong Chahawina, Tene, Lama Mambo, Jenyomare, Mone choose it, choose in the Dravina, Tene. This Sem Kide in a re, Luke, that time in a re. So make things this. They were young, though. They mix it. Tandig chid, Lud and Sem Gedetong chid. Mexican the draw Magona, Chu Shamashin the drova in it, Tishogla, the name. Lucem Gishidit, then young Yosares.
So, in brief, it's up to oneself to practice the Dharma in such a way that it becomes a cause for bringing peace and well-being. So there's, the way, for instance, to the posture of the body, and the way to direct the mind. And so through this combination of body and mind, then the practice of Dharma becomes a vehicle or a method for achieving, or for establishing well-being and peace and well-being. But Dini Lama, and Kimbo Rinpoche was saying, he himself has relied on many lamas. Yeah.
Tene, that Matsu Moni Chunyam Slanyala, Tene, good up Chi Lama said, Todam Nong Lama said, Sazam Noktan Chin, Tene, good up Chi Lamala, Tebatan Yichi, she, Tene, Wang Shi Lan, Tende Chivayina, tene todam nang lama rangrik dewa chenbu yi shese ade tene rimbeji ya rangi jula sharse namandu tene jeyong ya tene yore sonda kuzub chi lame tene tene te yindu ta chudrob ya mugyu ngoma tenga so chaje chenbu gom senare zokpa chenbu gom senare kangi gomna yanda rangrik dewa chenbu yi shete ngondu nyur yak chedala gomgu yude ta so togla shane tene ta chungone shamachi drop go samna tandana drop tangante to shugur ba ta tene ngaso chu dine hibe kapso
So when really practicing the Dharma, there's the outer kind of relative manifestation of the Lama, or the outer Lama. So we have faith and devotion towards the outer Lama, the relative Lama. And through the relative Lama, the outer Lama, we receive the four empowerments. And based on receiving the four empowerments, then we have the ability to realize the inner Lama, which is one's own intrinsic awareness, the primordial wisdom of one's own intrinsic awareness, which is really the true meaning of the Lama. So when this understanding shines forth in the mind stream, then that is like the ultimate guru, the ultimate meaning of the Lama. And it is based on this, practice of Dharma, relying on the relative Lama, and then ultimately through the practice of Mahamudra and Dzogchen, relying on the ultimate guru.
Tama shuya la ndorna mela rebagi karusondo sena lama tang rang sem sanji som jik tu tok nan yor la so mela reba kongrek nan yor yin so nan yor kanri da nan yor yin sena lama tang jik rang gi sem dani sanji som bote jik tu tok ba so dene te jik ma to dene kaka mewa tok ba tela dene nga nan yor sambo ji yin song da kongrek rang gi mela reba kongrek tende yin song do te yin de da nyamle ngone chenkai na takboren bo chere da ka ju koma namji mela reba re tene takboren bo chere jikten sum gong da tende zong la ta chi tene ka rong ge sem la ju chu tong ta ba ina de ma so chu drop segaro.
So Milarepa says, the Lama, one's own mind, and the Buddha, having realized these three as one, one is the meaning of a true yogin. And so Milarepa is really saying this with confidence in his own experience of having understood the true nature of his own mind, understanding that the Guru and the Buddha are not different or separate from that. And so those three rolled into one is the true understanding of the ultimate nature, the ultimate truth. And one who knows that three are not separate, but are of one single essence, one single nature, that individual is a true practitioner, a true yogi, a true yogin. And so the great masters who really perfected, this understanding, were, for instance, Milarepa or Dakpo Rinpoche, Gampopa, or Lord Jigten Sumgun. So we have those examples.
That Durna Tanya Mamboch Husona, the Kugoya Jim Sankarisana, not a lot on number he in a re, Mundum Bomga in a re, Tening Uye, at Ayadangi. Drupon Deva in a re, Tini, Tanda, Naru Chudu La Soba, Tada tam ji la tab ji lams and tab lams. Tab ji lams and ti tab shi talatane. Tab teli chung wiki. Ta tunda ji. Drop top go ti. Tene trolam chakja chembos. Tartu chakja chembolatane. Trolwa mato trolta umares. Ti indu. Tan donanga so ki chu drop sayate. Ranki simni devarjik mining botte togyak chido drop gyore ta ngaso namji ngason dongde ya namanangsi namda lama shavlandoga sem dune jeme namda te londe chuk tokbar hinji lawso tan donan tartu ki tendang ngomade rangi sem jewa tang chawa druba tang chawa te ane tartu sanji chuji ko ro tokbar hyo son ta te tokbar chawi chetala tene nga tsu chu drop sa ta sen drop ko yores
So the reason, for getting into all of this is so that we understand what we're doing. By reflecting on the preliminaries, the common preliminaries of the four thoughts that turn by the mind, by practicing these, by practicing the doing the 500,000 accumulations of the uncommon preliminaries, and likewise the main practice, the objective, which is the realization or practice of Mahamudra and Dzogchen, and the practice of the 6 yogas. These are all methods. They are methods. It's essentially the union of method and wisdom, and through which the ultimate meaning is accomplished. The path Mahamudra is a means or a method to generate the full fruition, to experience the fruition Mahamudra. And what that is, essentially, the purpose of all these different levels of Dharma practice is to realize the true nature of our own mind, which is that ultimate meaning in which all objects of refuge are complete. And so to manifest the qualities of the Tathagata Garbha, the Buddha nature. So as we have, and we recite Namo to the Lama of appearance and existence and so forth, and we say, bless me to realize my own mind, the true nature of my own mind, which is the perfectly pure kind of primordial wisdom of Dharmakaya. And so that essence, the true nature of the mind, is unborn, and it is completely free of mental proliferation. It's unstained by elaboration or mental proliferation. And that is the meaning of the ultimate meaning of the Buddha. That's Dharmakaya. And so that's to realize that essence, which is our intrinsic essence, is the purpose of all the Dharma that we practice.
Tende inde gap lama namba tene koma nambegi lodo namba hige tola tene tebat shane tanda tumochi ngonro tela ene tebat tena tsugundo tende tanga chagaro lodo namba hige tola tebat ngachene tende tumochi ngonro set teba
So lodo number ji tumung yang chai kongda.
Lodo number shi tumung kimondo tumung chi mondo ra. Ti tola tebat ko res. Tende ngacha tanda ngacha ro. Tumung chi mondo tela ngacha no.
Yeah, okay. Or tumong mayembe mondo nga.
No tumung mondo.
Ji. Oh, Dang Depa.
Yeah,
Okay. So we So the Lama actually should be added to the four thoughts that turn the mind as a reflection for cultivating faith or devotion. So we have the four thoughts that turn the mind, the outer common preliminaries, and in addition to those, then there is the necessity of the cultivation of faith. Faith, and specifically faith in reliance upon the spiritual teacher, the guru, and all these different meanings, including all these different levels of meaning, of the guru, of the spiritual teacher. So, so that then becomes, the five outer preliminaries. So the four thoughts that turn the mind plus the preliminary of faith.
Tēnei ngā tsō tā kēr sōng tū tsū shirā mēndō inā tā tīk tēnei tīk sōng kī tū lā ndar nā chū shiāma xīnyē tū gōng gōng rīndō tā inā rōng sō sō chū drōbe kāp sō tēne tānde tū mō mā yīmbā jīgī yīn sām rōng lā kāwā gōm yā tē kē chēmbō rē tē yīndū tēnā Drupon rōmbō chē kē tā gōng tsūk nē tēne tānda chāk chē ngā dēng kē tō nē mār rīmbā shīndō rō yā tē tēne sōng kē yō rō wā tē yīndū tē kē chēmbō rē tēne ngē kē tā tēne sānyi mā kāshī chī lē mā tō tēne xī kē yō mā rē tē mī tū Drupon rōmbō chē kōng rē kē chā yī tā rō kān rē yō nā tē kōng rē tēne ngē kē sō rō yō mō mbō chē kōng rē kē chā yī tā mā yī bā chē ngē kē pī tē nā tē yāk bō shī rā 요사 말이용 주로서 당봉고 간리 쪽에 다한테는 림바신도 간리 로고에 대 용거와 다이나 네 섬노직 당지 가르스나 로퐁 루줍지 시비 증익서야데 나서 보기 룩술이나 나 배차 장선한다 추로 롭종 치비 값서 되네 통말 단다 jarse langlan dang sibi zhengyin 나서 충충 되는 데를 치약 룩수 요래 네 시비 zhengyin 다 jarse langlan jesu song xiajoa yin sibi zhengyin da lopong lu zhop ke song te yindu tene be ningba daur chaade gore yin yang di nang la zong xiawa de tene nga zo tanjur ni ga che meta le chun ri kurbi nye me la so ba andorna chu gi ma shi te tene sarvo song xia yo re te indu tu tu da yu bi reng la nga zo ji kina da tun ra ni ma to man do ji me sa ni ma ni la di pe cha ga to nan ro na ni chron zo kan ren do tu tu ti ma to sa Nima jema matok ji pardo nga tsu tutsu yorwa. Te yindu shurung tsogi inchi tola. Di pecha drajiri. Tene ngoma tomnyo me na. Se tomnyo yo na yang chur. Ta na. Nde pecha kechenpo re. Ka ju se nying ma se ke lo sa cha se tende hiyawa yo ma rinde. Lo pong lo drup chi song re. Te nga tsonde na. Drugong ki chu ju di tola rongor chong chub lang tene. 다 루드럼 님바송 전에 덴데르네 라원준 주공바송 전에 루드럼 님바송 거여와 대인도 다 루드럼 님비게 추주 덴데지 나라 가르바송 보고는 쇼토바 인도 전에 로봉 루드럽 지송라 다야 중나요 가르바송 보인지를 대인도 하는 덴데지나 간련도 되는 거죠 주와트는 뜻이나
So So, these days, so traditionally, and particularly, actually, I can probably qualify that sort of in the Nyingma tradition, there is the practice or the tradition of doing what's called the 100-day retreat, which is 100 days of solitary retreat reflecting on the four thoughts that turn the mind. These days, it's really hard, for people to get that opportunity to do like a 100-day retreat. But even still, to whatever extent you're able to reflect on the four thoughts that turn the mind, practice, especially do some practice and retreat, to get teachings on the common and uncommon preliminaries, to practice them. This is an incredible fortune. This really speaks to our merit and good karma. So, so he said that, Drupon Rinpoche has started this program for reflecting upon or learning the progressive stages of the path according to how they are practiced and taught in the Drikung Kagyu lineage, according to the Fivefold path of Mahamudra. And so this is like a really wonderful opportunity, and it's really important that you follow the instructions and the course of practice according to how Drupon Rinpoche has laid it out for you, and understand what an incredible opportunity it is, and how fortunate you really are. And for Kimbo Rinpoche, he wants to be careful not to give you kind of a whole bunch of differing instructions or go too far in another kind of tradition of practice that might become confusing for you. You should really follow, according to how Drupon Rinpoche has laid it out. But Khenpo Rinpoche is thinking then, in that context, what is the best use of his time here with us, because he has today, and then there will be at least 2 more Sundays when he's able to come and teach. And so, in thinking about what would be beneficial and useful, he thought, he doesn't have a whole lot of time, but he thought that maybe it would be beneficial for us to go together through at least the opening sections of Nagarjuna's letter to a friend, because this is a really important text where there's a lot of fundamental, kind of foundational Dharma training. And in particular, so he said that for Tibetans who practice the Dharma, this text, Nagarjuna's letter to a friend, and the 37 Bodhisattva practices are something that they start studying or are introduced to from an early age, that really become very important foundational texts in their Dharma understanding. And as this comes from Nagarjuna, it's really one of the, one of the essential texts. And it goes through all of the 4 thoughts. So, precious human life, impermanence, karma, cause and effect, the defects of samsara, they're all there. And it is, it's a really important text, and because we have sort of a limit of time, at least we can go through those kind of preliminary or foundational teachings that are contained in Nagarjuna's letter to a friend. And this also transcends lineage, because coming from Nagarjuna, it's something that is practiced and studied in all the traditions. So whether Kagyu, Nyingma, Gelug, Sakya, they all study and they all defer to or revere, Nagarjuna's letter to a friend, and also it's kind of a special connection with, as Drongor Jangchubling is a Drikung Kagyu center, there is kind of a unique Drikung Kagyu connection here, because Gyawat Drikungba, or Drikung, the Lord Jigten Sumgun, is referred to or is said to be the second Nagarjuna. So we have that in the prayer where we say, Lord Drikungapa, Master of Interdependence. This is also referring to him as the second Nagarjuna. That's kind of what the meaning is in those lines. And, I think Nagarjuna is mentioned, right? Or maybe not, maybe it's just inferred. But in any case, that connection being here also sort of is significant to our lineage. Nagarjuna is significant to our lineage in that way. So he thinks it would be a great use of our time together, and he just wants to pose it to you all and see, what do you think? Does that sound good to you? In these next 2 weekends, if we cover that material together.
Okay, and then please, someone will find or already found the text in English, and you will have access to these texts in English. Probably there is more than
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot that part. Yeah.
one version, and I'm sure each lineage has much more. Sometimes, even in the Tibetans, underestimate these texts because it's very short and people think it's easy. But you can see every most major writings quote from these texts. So it's very profound and also very informative. So you can find a lot of things from here. So we can go through these texts next Sunday, and then we see how much we can finish.
Yeah, and also Kimber Rinpoche suggested if you can get a copy of it in English, you can also read it in your own time, which would, bring additional benefit. And I would just like to pose to any of our people who are like really into different translations and stuff, if you have any suggestions, if you're familiar with this text, or if anyone has any suggestions about what is a good translation in your opinion, please send it to me, and I can also share it in the chat, and we can try to use one of the better translations.
And we have a Q&A session now, if we want. But the last time we mentioned that maybe we can go through or discuss on the base on the word of my perfect teacher and the ornament of purchase liberation. These two texts are mainly, one is the Nyingma tradition, one is Gaju tradition, and especially the Gampopa's the ornament of purchase liberation is said that is maybe the earliest Tibetan kind of explanation on the preliminary practices, and Patrul Rinpoche's one is not that old, but only a few generations back. So these two are very good texts to look at it, and also I'm sure they quote these texts a lot, but sometimes people don't know the Nagarjuna's text that well. I'm not sure how many people read that text in here or online people, but I would say next week you maybe have spare some time to read the text. It's not that long.
Yeah.
And then tinong travayanare, tene travayana, sonroches.
Yeah. So if you have, especially if you have some questions pertaining to what you've read in these texts, or any other questions pertaining to this subject, then please feel free to ask in the time that we have remaining.
There's
Chigi translation in Chirangi Samsola, the translation Yaksho Garide, the Yikting. Nyamyong
No, I didn't read. I haven't read in English. I don't know. I tried to find. Maybe there's some books, but I couldn't find English translation that which one is good. I don't know.
So the question was, what is Kimpo Rinpoche's opinion in terms of like the better translation for this Nagarjuna's letter for a friend? But he's of course read it extensively in Tibetan, but hasn't been come across many different English translations, so he's not sure.
Yeah, we usually memorize these when we are very young, very beginning of Yedra, and then. But yeah, I haven't read in English. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
There's a number of texts, same titles. Also, the Jigon Dharma Sura Center has a download.
Oh, okay.
It's 24 pages. I don't know if that's enough.
Yeah, that seems
Right.
correct. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, there's also the Berzin archives, which James sent me this morning. It is also available free online as well.
Do we mind waiting for the mic when you ask your questions, because the people online can't hear?
Yeah, thanks, Beverly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Ralph said, do you want to, well, we can, maybe what
Yeah.
would be great actually is if, Ralph, if you could send that link, also just like put it in the group WhatsApp, and then people have access, to different versions.
Okay, I'm sure Paul can hear.
Yeah.
I would like to go back to your comments.
Close.
Can you put,
I'd like to go back to your comments about taking refuge with the Lama. Most of us here have taken refuge with.
Can you
can you
close?
talk more directly into the mic?
Lower that.
Okay, most
Like
of us.
put it directly in
Lower,
front of your
lower,
mouth,
little
lower.
Okay. Most of us here have taken refuge with Drupon, and of course he's a great Lama. The question is, if you're an American and you're studying Tibetan Buddhism, you have the opportunity to meet quite a few lamas from Tibet. And if you're unsure about which lama to give your devotion to,
Your
to-
root lama, your root
yeah,
guru.
to take refuge with or to pray to at the beginning of your meditation, as you suggested, how do you make your choice? Because even lamas are not the Buddha. And, we know, in some sense, we know more about the Buddha's mind than we know about any one lama's mind. It's so hard to know another person's mind. We can get a very good sense by what they say and the way they behave. But I think it's in the realm of behavior that some difficulties may arise. For example, we were students of Chogyam Trungpa, and everyone's heard stories, of course. But I think back, what if Milarepa were your guru? I mean, a great person, ultimately, but he killed people in his youth, and he skipped around the mountains without clothing. I mean, there's behavior on the part of everyone, lamas included, that might make it difficult to fully
Trust.
devote oneself to the, and I guess the question really is in a sense, to what or to whom are you giving your devotion when you're giving your devotion to a lama, to a human being, most of whom have some faults of some kind.
Yes, that's why I think most of the time the Vajrayana is not good for everyone, and that's why I'm trying to say I'm not promoting you should have devotion on Lama if your Dharma practice is certain degree that not really focusing on the revulsion of samsara. And once we seems we really wanted to revolt samsara, then
Have revulsion towards samsara. Like, so that he's saying that qualifying the devotion piece also has to be connected with our motivation really to be in one of true rejection of samsara.
so there, maybe surface level, these kind of strong or radical practice may be harmful for individuals.
It can go wrong real
Yeah.
easy.
But that's the actual Dharma practice. I don't think it cares about that because less care about this life to become something in next life. That's the actual Dharma practice. But if you really care about how to find a perfect Lama to beneficial somehow in a spiritual life, of course, then we can find all the defects from other person. That's for sure. So that's why it's devotion is not really, my understanding, is not finding a perfect Lama. I think
It's not
much,
so much about the personality,
Yeah.
right?
how you can make connection to this person. It's not really trying to find a perfect Lama. I don't think we don't have that ability to find a perfect Lama. Maybe there is no perfect Lama until we become a perfect Lama. Yeah. So
Because
it's,
our mind is not pure, so
Uh-huh.
our phenomena won't be completely pure.
yeah. And that's of course harmful because then disharmony and all kind of problem arise. But in the West, now we are sort of access to all Dharma teachings and all practice, but we don't have control or we don't have much skill to maneuver this. It's, I'm not. I'm just go through these texts, what the text says, and if you are not totally into this guru business, maybe it's not good for individuals. That more harmful, maybe.
Did you get that? If you're not into the guru business, it might be better not to force yourself. If you force yourself, it might become more harmful.
Yeah, sadly, I see many in the West. Sometimes people don't like one Lama because due to that Lama did something unethical to these individuals' eyes, and then the entire that person invest time and resources in everything.
And the
They
baby
just
goes
give
out
up.
with the bathwater.
They just give up instantly, and then says whole Buddhist practice is not not good. So I think that's, I'm not sure that is totally that seeing that instant or just that person wanted to give up anyway. So I cannot judge, but so there is instance that I, by my own eyes, I saw many are become like that. It's sometimes, of course, then become is more bitter and also more distant, and changes your life because you put a lot of effort and invest in Dharma and spiritual a lot, and then suddenly you cannot turn off. Even you want to turn off because you already invested a lot and almost part of become who you are. If you invest 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, then you cannot just walk away. So it's another difficult part in one's life.
Is everyone following? Did everyone follow that? Yeah.
I have heard something similar, that when you are listening to the teachings,
You are.
when people listen to, when I listen to the teachings, to take it as a reverence for the teachings because they came from Buddha, and that when the Lama is giving the teachings, he's like in the essence of Buddha, but he's also human, so he's going to have human mistakes. So when he's doing the teachings and he's teaching you about Dharma, you have reverence at that point, and take huge respects for the teachings and the Dharma and the lessons and that kind of thing. But we don't have to cling to the negatives because they're also human. That's what I was told, at how to respect and acknowledge the...
And also see the human,
Yeah.
like not be disturbed by the human.
And that's how I was
Expressions.
taught to give reverence to the Lama. And Yvonne also has a question.
Yeah.
Hello, good morning.
Wait. Can we let Kimbo answer that first?
Because if we start thinking that way, then it's also, I think, not really healthy. If thinking this person is human, would have a lot of faults, and I cannot really trust what this person will do. It then a doubt already plan in your system, and you don't really trust, and then that person is not special to you. It just can read books for you. Yeah, that is not good enough treat as Lama. So I think.
I think he's saying you have to take it further, right? Yeah.
So the guru business or Lama is trying to we train as a good person to trust others and more kind, more reliable, rather than finding something external faults that maybe it's what appear to us is contradict that norms and rules and those, then it's difficult. But it's that's why I'm saying it's a much more complicated business than if you don't really concern much about next life. I think it's better to away from Lama business. It's really complicated. There's 3 people.
Yvonne?
Yvonne,
Yes, good morning.
louder.
Can you hear me? Okay.
We
I was
try.
I was going to say that, how I was told to be able to recognize um the Lama for you is to check on the moral character of that person, and who his teacher was and who his teacher was, to make sure that the lineage is pure and has not been corrupted. And as long as the teacher has a good motivation and has good moral character, we that's a good start. And you know, it's difficult because we're human, yes, but we're very fortunate to have, you know, lamas that we can rely on. So thank you for that, Kimbayashi. The other thing that I wanted to say is, like, you were explaining this morning basic things for us to understand what we're doing. And that is constantly something that, you know, how can I say, in my heart, it feels that it's difficult to adapt all of the teachings, particularly the devotional teachings sometimes, um, to my Western life. Because the time when those teachers were developed in Tibet, it was a different cultural construct. And sometimes we get lost, in the paraphernalia, and we make sense. I mean, we lost sense of what we're doing. And that's the number thing. What advice you can give for that? Number one. Second, yes, we have to revolt samsara, and there's so much evil going on. Yet, yes, we have revulsion for everything, that is bad. But how do you deal with despair? It's something that I continue to struggle with, because it's there's so much crime and abuse and all those things that is difficult to feel bodhicitta for those beings. That's my second request for advice, please.
Yeah, that sometime maybe we can think a little bit broader idea of what practice is. It's mainly the practice itself is we need to love to people who hate us. That is the main beginning. The Ndrigung Daktangma, Dala Dangwar Shibitra. That's the very beginning.
All mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me.
That's the basic thing. And then the whole practice is we want to change any negative ideas or perceptions or understanding into positive. That's his practice. So even Lama has, according to or allegedly, have many problems, but we try to make a positive. That's our core practice. Yeah. So mainly we need to, and finally, hopefully, nangwa tamchi la, chakwa tamchi ngak, chenrik tamchi tuk.
All appearances become the deity, all speech becomes mantra, and all thoughts become meditative absorption.
Karsi tanda tedardo menayong, tedardo yongwar sho, tedardo chegi yin san, dene tutus tedardo, dene nyamslan toba ina, mato ngato semlo jurchut an maton bina, dene tenri chagyak rewa yomarwa.
Sorry.
Tanda ne ngato semlo te yang go yorwa. Takbar jong mato na yo tutus nongwa tamche lai, chakwa tamche ngayin, chenk tamche tokin san, tanda ni jang go gore mato, tanda na ma jong na, tenri chagyak rewa yomarwa.
So, it's important essentially to train like now, with what's available to us now in the moment. And if we train, if we apply the Dharma in such a way that everything is brought onto the path of practice, then eventually we can have these experiences of, experiencing phenomena as the enlightened form of the deity, experiencing speech as, empty mantra, experiencing thoughts as, awakened mind, the display of awakened mind, or meditative absorption. So, but without training, we can't expect that to just happen, without the effort. Yeah.
Okay, Michelle?
Hi, Rinpoche. I'm going back to the guru stuff. I have maybe two questions. And um, I was taught that we connect to the mind stream of the guru. And to me, that means the heart. And it's more of a heart to heart communication. And I think that when you're in touch with your own heart, that you'll know who that perfect guru is for you. And not to say that we all are each other's teachers. I feel that we can learn and grow from each other. But then that heart connection that you feel, a deep heart connection, you know it. That's just my take on it. And another thing that I kind of wrote down from what I think I remember, I don't know if it's true or not, but the reason that we connect with the heart and not the physical body, because the body is samsara. Is that right? The body is samsara, but the heart is pure. And it's not, yeah, that's all I'm just going to say about that. But so that's my take on it. My question about that, knowing that we're supposed to connect to the mind stream of the guru, is it okay to admire and look at the physical body, or when you're getting a teaching from the teacher or any teacher that you're with, is it okay? Because sometimes I'm sitting, I'm like, am I supposed to look at them? Am I supposed to look at their heart? I don't, what am I supposed to do there? That's that first question. I'll just stick with that. That's enough.
Yes, that's very important, but sometimes we need to treat or generate guru devotion, but we don't know who's guru, the body or mind. These are, of course, we need to think about. But I just mentioned that we need to see all appearances as a deity.
As the guru or as a teaching.
And then, which means then, in a tradition, there's called Nansi Tamchi Laming or Sharwa.
So when all appearances shine forth as the essence of the guru, right? Or no?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Which means there is no, even dog's poops are your
Even
guru.
dog poop is the guru.
Yeah. So there is it's not finding a perfect guru, but we make everything's perfect. So that's just called practice. Practice make perfect, yeah? Didn't say finding make perfect. So practice make perfect. So we make perfect guru. Not there. I don't think we can find a perfect guru. I'm not sure.
Unless our minds are completely pure.
Yeah. So think about that. And next one, and because due to the time limit, we can discuss more because in a word of my perfect teacher, there was a dog teeth give relics and so forth. Yeah, it's not what over there, but how we can treat.
So he's referring to the story of the dog tooth, where somebody was given a dog tooth and told it was a relic of the Buddha, that it was a Buddha's tooth, and she had such incredible faith in the tooth that the tooth started emitting rainbow-colored light. So his point being, this is like perception, right? That creates your experience of blessing and.
Lisa, last question, and then we stop today.
Thank you, Kempo, and thank you for the teachings. In one of these prayers that we recite regularly, we pray to know what we should take up in terms of practice and prayer and what to discard. So I've had an experience where it's not always the teacher that causes a disconnect, but the teaching. So do you have any recommendation on what to do in that situation, or any additional things other than to pray to know what to take up in terms of teachings and what to discard or leave behind? Thank you.
What do you mean discard?
Long door, chiba.
You mean what to adopt, what to discard?
Yes, what to like adopt in term or take up as our teachings, and what to not practice in terms of our teachings.
That's a little bit confusing. What's not practice? Do you mean if there's a bunch of texts that then we choose practice some practice and not practice the other? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm trying to think of if it comes in the dedication or it's in one of the prayers we recite regularly, and I can't remember which one it is. So maybe somebody there remembers or somebody online, but or can post the actual lines of that in the chat.
But I think where Kimbo's confusion is, it sounds like you're connecting what to adopt and what to discard to teachings, like as if there's some teachings that should be adopted and some teachings that should be discarded. And I think that's what's confusing to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that we're supposed to adopt things and discard things, but not like it's not like we're supposed to discard teachings, right?
Okay. Well,
all teachings are Dharma.
Well, what if one, like I said, what if there's a teaching that causes a disconnect? It's not the teacher. People here are focusing on the teacher and the perfect teacher. But Buddha also taught us to be scientists and question what is taught and not to follow blindly. So if there's some teaching that we don't agree with or that doesn't resonate with us, should we just try to figure out what we have learned from, or find something we can learn from it, but then maybe not continue to practice it? So like I said, in some instances, it's not the teacher, it's the teachings.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit unclear. Usually I was thinking, I thought you're saying that our sadhanas practices that some should be adopted, maybe there's something to discard. But probably you didn't mean in that way. You are saying in the Buddhist teachings there is that
something like that.
the Dharma teachings, that there is not genuine Dharma teachings comes in the Buddhist teaching, and that need to avoid that kind of teaching. So that's maybe you are talking about that, because even Gambopa himself saying that if pure Dharma is only, we need to focus on pure Dharma, we should not adopt it. Maybe you are saying that.
Are you saying that, Lisa?
Well, I wasn't initially, but now when the more I think about it, yes, because there are certain practices that the Dalai Lama has said we should not practice and we should not follow.
Yeah, but we cannot take literal meaning everything. He has audience, he has preferences, he has own agenda, and we cannot just take what he's saying is 100% what he may say to other person differently. So I don't. What? That's why I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I was speaking about the practice of Shugden. I've not practiced that, but that's just an example. I'm just making an example.
Yeah, but maybe not for all audience. He's talking to some audience. So that's why I'm saying one person saying is we cannot take everything as literal meaning, only that way. Because Buddha's teaching is 84,000 different ways of saying. And very beginning, for example, is saying we need to recognize our suffering. Then after that, they say there's no suffering, so there's no way to recognizing suffering.
So sometimes even the Dharma seems to contradict itself.
Yeah.
But it is actually in accord with the different capacities and understandings of beings.
84,000,
The 84,000 different manifestations of the Dharma.
Yeah. So even His Holiness Dalai Lama saying, I'm not saying not truth, but I'm saying, says to different audience.
So things might be said differently to different people according to what they need to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay, we do dedication and then usually Sunam Deyi, everyone's.
Okay, so on page 24 of the prayer book.
Sunam Deyi Tamje Sebani Tomne Nyebe Ranam Bamje
Page 22.
Jega Nanji Balon Drubaye Zibin Zole Droa
No, I'm sorry, that was page 18. By the merit I have accumulated, may I overcome all erroneous attitudes and reach the omniscient state. May all sentient beings who are suffering in the waves of birth, old age, illness, and death be freed from the ocean of samsara.
Right.
24? Or
25 maybe.
24. Da dangorde tamchigi or gare?
Hiyakunze.
Oh, Chiwakunse. And then 25, Shija.
Shija Gunze Gunchen Chuji Je Dendre Nela Wanton Dragomba Rinchen Parji Temba Zinti Par Yidron Dosam Gombe Zenjoy Je.
May the teachings of the great Drekungpa Ratna Sri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara. So I'll also just point out that this was the verse that Khenpo Rinpoche was saying is referring to Lord Jigten Sumgön as the second Nagarjuna. So where it says, Lord of Dharma, Master of Interdependence, that's referring to Nagarjuna. Rua.
Yeah, the interdependent is main philosophy or doctrine or a view of Nagarjuna. Everything's interdependent, therefore has no no essence, because you need to rely on something. It means self doesn't have own autonomy or sovereignty. So that's why it means there's no own self, means it's empty. So interdependence shows everything's as empty.
Is actually empty. Interdependence means that it's inherently empty.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you so much, and see you next Sunday.
See you next Sunday. So